And welcome to Cruising Kayfabe. I'm Mongo.
I'm Emily.
And today we're talking about World's End, but unfortunately we're not talking about the 2013 masterpiece from Simon Pegg, World's End, but we're talking about AEW World's End.
The only one I know of.
Have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
I don't remember.
It's part of that trilogy. It's a fantastic movie. That's what I always think of when I see this movie. It's basically they go to a bar and there's a bunch of robots. It's 3 movies. It's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. I won't make her sit through them, though, because she'll just fall asleep during the first one, probably. Well, second one, because she likes zombies. But we're here to talk about AEW, and I can't believe there's only 8 matches on this card. That was, I think, my first thought. I was like, there's only 8 matches. No pre-show announced as of 9 o'clock. And only 8 main card matches. So it's kind of a smaller pay-per-view for AEW.
I mean, it is the end of the year. I'm sure there's a lot of surprises coming. I don't know.
Yeah, they might really clean up with their surprises. So I think this match will open the show, and I think we should open with it. But we have Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher, the second time they've met. So Kyle Fletcher, obviously, I already beat Will, already kind of put him out of action. Will came in second place, so he now goes against Kyle, who came in first place, for a chance at the final. So it's kind of like a redemption. You know, even if you win your league, you can still get upset. I like it. It's like the NFL, you know, where the Chiefs are the number 1 seed in the AFC, but, you know, the number 8 seed could still get to the next round of the playoffs by beating them, even though they had the better record.
Not to mention that these two have already had an incredible match. So what is it going to be when there's something this big at stake?
Right, when there's pride on the line, too. You know, Kyle's trying to prove he's not Ospreay, even though Hammerstein is chanting, "You're Ospreay, you're Ospreay." And you have Ospreay, who he wants to get that win back. And I'll go with you first. We're going to do ladies first, and obviously comments, too. Do you think Kyle Fletcher advances to the finals, or do you think Will Ospreay gets his win back and goes to the finals? Because they got to wrestle twice in one night, so that could play a factor, too.
I don't know. Okay, so let's think this out.
Will Ospreay's hunger for revenge and feud towards the Don Callis family continues.
It does, but at the same time, Kyle dominated. Kyle really, really put the work in this, and I feel like he's going to get to the finals. But how does Ospreay not also get to the finals?
So let me do that Missy Elliott flip that thing, now flip it and reverse it on you. So Kyle dominated the Continental Classic. You're 100% right. He got 12 points. He only lost 1 match. So he almost went perfect. You know, he almost had 5 straight victories. I mean, yeah. So he won 4. Ospreay's going to win because he's going to get that match back, because what better place to have the rubber match, the third match, than Grand Slam Australia in front of Kyle's, you know, home country. So I think that's what it could set up, is it gets Ospreay to the final. It doesn't really hurt Fletcher, but it could set up something for, you know, Grand Slam Australia, because you can't tell me Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in Australia would not make people interested in that Dynamite.
Well, of course it will.
So you're gonna say Kyle, and I'm gonna say Ospreay, but Ospreay's only lost 5 times. I can't see him taking a 6th loss yet. I feel like 5 losses in the year is perfect. I don't think he's gonna lose another one. And we have Kyle Fletcher lost 1 match against Mark Briscoe, if I'm right. Exactly. He lost 1 against Briscoe. Kind of gave Briscoe some of the fun points in the tournament, but I think he could lose here. And I think this kind of keeps Will on that push. You know, he's one of the most over baby faces. So I feel like he kind of has to pick it up here for that.
All right. Put your man crush aside.
I am putting my man crush aside.
Kyle Fletcher has been friends with Will for so long. Will's willing to take losses for certain people to push their career and to push them further. I think that Ospreay doesn't need a title. However, Kyle Fletcher and the Don Callis family, they do.
Very good counterpoint.
So I'm gonna stick with Fletcher. I think that Fletcher needs this. Ospreay definitely is over regardless, and that still makes for a rubber match.
I hope we're making you proud, Jeff, because we're already split on this one. And it's not the man crush. I will say 95%, 97, 98, 99%. I choose Will because of the man crush. Stop judging me. You do that too for some of your super faves.
Of course.
Boom, ba boom, 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 the super faves. But I know it's base. So I think Ospreay, just because of who I think wins the next one, I think that's why I'm kind of going with that. So let's talk about the next one. Okada versus Ricochet. So Ricochet, he didn't really dominate the tournament, but he didn't really lose. And Swerve did put that little tickler out there. Swerve did basically say, it's a corporate term. He put that little reminder out to Ricochet, don't blow this. So you think that gets in his head a little bit?
No, I think Okada is just Okada, and
gonna take his head off of the Rainmaker.
Yeah, like I think that basically, like, we're gonna see Okada come through and really win this, but then lose his title in the final. I don't foresee him. I just don't think it would be a great Continental Classic if the champion doesn't advance to the finals. I think that that's going to leave too many people like dumbfounded.
Yes.
And too many people are going to be like, oh, well, why do they even put him in the finals if he doesn't make it? Like, oh, why'd they even have him wrestle for the title if he's not in the finals? Blah, blah, blah. So I definitely think it's Okada and Fletcher. But I could also see Okada versus Ospreay. It's not that I don't want Ospreay. It's just, again, if you look at who needs a title, the Don Callis family needs a title.
No, and I'll tell you a good reason for your theory. The Elite have all lost their titles but Okada. So that kind of leads to your theory too that Fletcher could win because Jack Perry lost his title. They were losing it in the reverse order. They kind of got it. So it almost makes sense. Like that's their world's end too. Like they've lost that. The Elite tried to take over the company in an epic failure.
Tried to change the world.
Tried to do, see what you did there. Tried to do everything they could. But they lost the titles. They tried to humiliate Sting. They got their ass beat at Revolution. They tried to humiliate Private Party. They finally got their comeuppance. Okada has been cocky. He's saying he's the greatest tournament fighter of all time. That he's the best tournament wrestler. What better comeuppance than him losing his title, to Fletcher or to Ospreay. So it makes sense, but that leads credence to your theory. So we are going to be the same on this one. I also say Okada wins only because I think they're setting up, obviously, Swerve Ricochet next, which I'm here for that. I am totally here for Swerve versus Ricochet. Because now we're going to get to the finals, which you and I are predicting. Okada. So I'm saying Okada Ospreay, and you're saying Okada Fletcher. So now I'm curious. So you've already kind of let the cat out of the proverbial bag here and said that you see Okada losing this title and Fletcher getting it for the Don Callis family. I don't see Will winning this one. I see Okada winning. Even though I just told you all that about the Elite, I see Okada winning and retain that title because he has been saying, I am the greatest tournament wrestler. And I feel like you can't build a tournament about that and how he had the adversity in term to kind of come through and still defy the odds. Like, if it is versus Fletcher, I mean, you have someone who's won 5 matches out of 6 going at someone who had a tie, going someone who had to kind of crawl their way back from that tie that really derailed his momentum. But I see Okada winning because afterwards I see the lights going out and we hear battle cry. And I see Omega coming back and confronting Okada. Because if you notice in the New Japan interview he did a few months ago, he said, when the time is right, I'm coming back and I'm coming for you, Okada. I left because I didn't think I could face you. I wasn't the best bout machine. You were the best in the world. You have nothing to fight for. Now he has something to fight for. Okada's trying to prove himself again. What better way for Ken to come back and get his revenge than, I'm not saying even for that title, but come back just to take him down a peg. Or even if he loses to Fletcher, I see Omega being inserted after this.
I definitely see him coming back. Again, the world changed when AEW was created. Now it's the world's end. And it's time for Kenny to come home. He's been doing a lot of training, as we've seen, with different people.
He's getting ready for Wrestle Dynasty against Gabe Kidd, who's been talking trash about AEW the whole time.
Huge trash, saying if he gets signed, he has no problem telling Tony Khan off. Blah,
he said
blah, blah.
He called him Sid from Toy Story.
I mean,
that's every wrestling promoter is basically a kid from Toy Story.
Yeah.
You got into promoting wrestling because you like wrestling.
Very true. Very true.
predicting Okada winning the tourney. So Jeff, you're with me. I've already disappointed you, Jeff, because I've agreed with her early in the night, but we did have our differences. So, but yeah, it's hard because the only person I really don't see getting to the finals is Ricochet, and that's not a shot at Ricochet. But either Okada Ospreay or Okada Fletcher work. So like, I'm not saying, oh no, you're wrong.
Oh no,
I'm not saying I can't see it. It's almost just like, you're like flipping a coin.
I think that much like what I told you that Rumble was going to do, or that Royale a few months back or weeks, I think this is just storytelling. I think this creates something for the future. I think this is definitely a nail biter, and that this is this. Like, this is gonna be a lot. Sorry, this is this. Clearly, I'm tired.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see a lot of outcomes happening with this. I can see a lot of, I'm trying to think of the word here, not swerve, but like changing course that we don't see. Like, this could come in and Kyle Fletcher goes in and he beats Okada, and then Kenny Omega doesn't even show up and Okada just leaves. Like, there's so many angles that could happen to set up future stories. And I think that's kind of what we forget sometimes when we like fantasy book or we are pushing for matches. As much as the internet would tell you they don't, they have seeds planted for their next All In. They kind of build from All In to All In.
They definitely do. And something else that we're not mentioning is, like, again, so this Continental Classic, it's pristine. It tells you that this person worked their fucking ass off to get this title. It's telling you that this person is good at tournaments. It's like a G1. This is something very, very pristine in wrestling, and they're really working their asses off to do this. So I think that Okada losing that is going to have a spiral where he's going to, bitch needs a break.
Bitch needs a break.
He needs to go take a break, come back refreshed, and we'll see what happens when the Bucks return with him. I don't know.
I know it's hard because how do the Bucks play into this? Because they ran away scared. They ran away. What were they shredding? That's what I want to know. What were they shredding?
They were shredding Vince McMahon's documents.
I don't want to go there. That's weird.
I'm just kidding, guys. They were shredding, let's see. I don't know what they could have been shredding. You're the businessman. They're EVPs. What were they shredding?
That's what I'm wondering.
Evidence of...
So before we get to that's good, because obviously I don't want to get to the main event match. Yeah, I want to get to that matches, but this will be a good little intermission. I still have a weird feeling that Jack Perry and Moxley are working together. I still have this weird feeling the Elite and Moxley are working together. I think they're shredding their connection to Moxley. I think their takeover failed.
Okay.
I think that they realized we lost at Blood and Guts. Team AEW is too strong for just us. Like, we need someone who just will do whatever it takes. And they're like, Mox? And they pitched the idea to Mox, and Mox was like, fuck yeah, I'm on board. Because it looks like they're calling a plane or a helicopter out in this field, right? Like, they're sending up the flares. Welcome to the jungle, playing all this dramatic, these weird numbers. And everyone's predicting Shane McMahon. But I feel like I don't see that happening because I don't think the reception will go over well. But what I do see happening is, what do the Young Bucks have in every single entrance video? What are they always showcased on?
Money.
A private plane, a private jet.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So what if Moxley is basically getting them to land in the desert? This is the big reveal. This is...
like, come back, it's time.
Like, because look at Christopher Daniels to Hangman. I'll be in your corner. You don't have someone. Kenny and Hangman were basically kicked out of the Elite and kicked to the side. There's more on Team AEW right there. You have to have Swerve now somehow work with Hangman. You're already kind of teasing that with Swerve having to work with Jay White. you're truly dividing the company by linking up, and the Elite are just the money behind it. They're like, we just paid these guys. They're just doing what we wanted. And they're going to deliver the briefcase to them. And I think that's why Christian's story is in it. So it's all leading to the Bucks being the masterminds behind the Death Riders. I think that's what this whole story is going to, because it's not your company anymore. That was Moxley's first line to Tony Schiavone, and that stuck with me this whole story. And just like when the Devil started, those little clues all added up. When you saw Wardlow's hair, you were like, So people who say they don't tell stories, they just don't put that out there in your face story. It's Marvel. It reminds me of like the cinematic universe where there would be mid-credit scenes, post-credit scenes. They would sprinkle in the little nuggets, like everything. That's what I think is going on right now. And I know I just went on a super long tangent, but that's kind of
I'm taking it all in. I'm sorry, guys. When you see me like this, I'm taking notes. And
then we have Suzanne,
dumbfounded.
Said she has her world ends that Mox will retain the world championship with help from the Death Riders. I see the Jackson Boys rejoining Scapegoat and Okada revealing. See them in the lines. So she's understanding it too. And when I bought them on this page is Eddie Kingston is a common enemy. That's it. I think him coming back in the summertime, he's like the perfect person. If no one foils Mox, he's the perfect person too. Excuse me. So that's why I think the main event will be super hard to predict. So I don't think I want to go there yet because I think that's the main event. I think we're going to have to skip our order we're going in. So who do you have in your notes after Mox?
MJF versus Adam Cole, baby, for the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
All right. Let's see. So we have Adam Cole running back that story from last year's World End where he revealed he was the devil. And we have MJF basically saying you were the bad guy all along. So do you see MJF winning his ring for the 6th time, or do you see Adam Cole getting the new diamond ring?
I want to see someone new have this. I want to see, and it wasn't necessarily Adam Cole that I wanted to see have it. I just don't understand how someone could have something for so fucking long. At this point, it's just MJF's. If he gets this, just fuck it. If he gets this again, I don't care at all about it again.
I think no matter what, it's going to come down to MJF and Adam Cole bringing this back. But I think I felt too hard in the tinfoil after our Costco trip because I think the Messiah of the Backbreaker, to quote Jeff, returns. I think you have them turn on Adam Cole because I think Kyle O'Reilly kind of made them see the light. If that doesn't happen, I have a super out there one. Wardlow comes back and turns on Taven and Bennett, like knocks them both out for leaving him behind, kind of like what Will Hobbs did. And then you have him accidentally kind of helping MJF because Cole's like, what the fuck just happened? And then MJF gets his cheap win and gets to retain it. So Wardlow doesn't really align with MJF, but he fucks over Adam Cole because like you promised me all this shit and like where you been, Adam?
I could, because in the Continental Classic, you cannot have interference.
And there was a lot of like dirty downplaying of that. So like they're not following their own rules. So
with the Continental Classic, push this out there. They're not going to have a lot of interference. So they're going to have interference in other areas. And that would make sense. MJF never wins clean. So I just want to see someone fresh.
Yeah, I think too.
If we have Scapegoat in there, I don't know if Darby's in there.
I know you want to see someone fresh, but I just almost feel like it's
MJF's ring.
It's going to be his signature move. Yeah.
But
I think what they should do, he should be like, listen, I'm like Michael Jordan now. I won this 6 times. I'm just going to retire this puppy, but it's mine forever. Simple way to write it off after.
Yeah, because at this point, even last year, I was like, oh, fuck, again?
Still dependent more than the trios titles. Oops. But, and I don't mean that. That was just a joke, anyone. But what I think, though, is, yeah, there's shenanigans. So either Taven and Bennett, AJ's favorite tag team, either they turn or Wardlow comes out and takes them out. Because, like, like you said, there's fuckery to be afoot, and they haven't had it yet, you know? So, speaking of fuckery, I think the next one we have to go to, I think we got to go. You want to go Mercedes? I think we got to go Mercedes because I want to save the two main titles for last. I want to save Mariah for last. I want to save Moxley for last.
Okay. I'm just taking my notes, guys. Sorry.
So I think we should go. Do you think Statlander finally gets her TBS title back, or do you think money buys everything?
Money.
You're going against?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Okay. So Statlander has been one of the best TBS champions. She has some of the most defenses and offenses of the title.
Built that title.
I think that the TBS title needs to be defended on TBS. I think I don't care where it's defended. It's television. That's what I care about. I think it needs to be brought back to television. I think it should be a workhorse championship like it was. Mercedes has been great. She's really elevated the title, but she's got the New Japan title. She needs to go focus on that. And quite frankly, she's also challenging for another title soon.
The Rev Pro. So her and Mina are going to have a match at Rev Pro. It's a dual title match. So I agree. She shouldn't have the TBS title. She's going for a third title.
Or she's going to be a belt collector, which is totally fine too. No. But I don't want to see that. I do want to see Statlander take it. I want to see her do a Copeland challenge style. I want her to have random
open.
Yeah, I want some fresh faces back. I want to see Ashley Vox come in and face her. I want to see all these people that we haven't seen in a while that have been with her for a very long time. And fuck it, let's throw Willow in there again. Like, let's get another match with those two. Jody Threat, but she's with TNA championships right now. She's got a tag title at TNA.
I'm just saying, you never know where these people are going to wind up in 2025.
Yeah. So I do want to see Statlander have a nice long run. I want to see her shine. Just let her have this for a while.
I think, too, you make a good point. You know, having it back defended on weekly television makes sense. It's just hard because I can see Statlander winning if, like, Camille comes back and costs Monet. And I kind of feel like that's where they could easily go to protect Mercedes. You know, have Camille come out and take out, because again, there's not a lot of fuckery going on the Continental Classic, so you gotta have it. And with Mariah being in a hardcore match, it doesn't matter anyway. This one, it does matter. Have Camille come out and cost, and then you can again set up, you know, Mercedes versus Camille for the fall. You know, again, Grand Slam. You set up for North Carolina debut there, Asheville, because Camille's from the area. Why not set up? So you already have basically Adam Copeland coming back. You have her. You have all these great names they're making this fight for the Fallen huge.
Well, they have to. Why wouldn't
it's for charity? Yeah, it's for everyone
this
here in North Carolina,
and it's also their first show.
First show in Asheville. Yep.
It's going to be a big deal. Is it?
If it wasn't
New
a 5 hour,
is it New Year's Day? I'm really bad at.
If it wasn't like a 6-hour round trip commute, I was going to take us, but it's just with traffic, it's 6-7 hours, so it's like, ugh. But I'm looking forward to it. I know we have friends down near Charlotte who are going, so I hope people enjoy it. Yeah, you got to save it. So I think I'm going to go with my gut, and I think Mercedes finally loses here to Statlander, but I can also see her retaining. But I'm going to go with Statlander winning. I agree. It's time for a change, and she's going for that Rev Pro title, so I can see her winning that, and then she's still Mercedes 2 belts.
Yeah, so like I think that Mercedes has done wonders with this run. I think that she's really brought relevancy to the title again. I also think she has a great run outside of AEW going. I think that she needs to again come back through and really focus with that. I don't know. Mercedes needs to dominate again.
I agree. I don't, and I would just say I wouldn't even say she didn't bring relevance to it because I think it already. I look at Jade Cargill and I look at Statlander's first run, and I look at Julia. I think, and then Willow. I think it had such a good combination of lineage already. I think it was already a great established mid card. I think I agree with. I think she added that because whoever beats her is like, oh, they beat Mercedes. Like, it almost makes it like she's almost made it to be like 1A, 1B. So like how WB has the 2 women's titles, it almost feels like that, like another world title. And I think it's cool. So I think whoever does beat Mercedes, whether it's Statlander or down the road, is going to get like that rocket ship.
And you need to give Statlander her credit. She's had the best women's matches of 2024.
I don't think they would have run this back if Statlander and her didn't have that like almost 20-minute banger. So like I think that
they have the longest women's match in AEW history.
This is gonna be what I call a blood pressure match, where it's a bunch of those like like false wins, false finishes. Like you're gonna be like, oh, it's, and look for some creative spots here because Statlander is freakishly strong. So they're gonna do some crazy shit.
So something that I just realized is that how many matches are there?
8 total.
So they could do an hour-long match for this. We don't know.
And that's why I think between the Continental Classic and
they want to show Mercedes can wrestle. They want to show that Statlander is the best woman at the moment. They give them an hour. Have them.
I mean, don't give them an hour because you don't want to expose people who've never done that long of a match. Mercedes has done 130 plus. You can't.
Okay, so go 30.
That's what I'm saying. You look at these, like, because you got the Continental Classics. Those 3 matches alone will probably be almost 3 hours. So you're looking at this. You got 25, 30. I can see each match being minimum 25 minutes. And I'm not saying like they can't like physically. It's just I think you'd have to almost train for it, like make it like an Iron Man. Because I think you, as a competitor, because you don't want to have the cat of the bag, you're going to do it. But I think you'd at least still have to kind of put a stipulation so you could train for it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's necessary. Like, just give these women some time. Let them showcase.
Oh, 100%.
You know what move is one of my favorites that Statlander does? That it's been a long time.
Boop?
She gets them in almost like a headlock and spins around in a UFO. I forget what it's called. Area 51? Is that the one? I think it was
Area 51, yeah.
Iconic. I miss my alien.
She should bring it back. Cody brings back the cartwheel. Why can't she bring back some of her mannerisms? I'm not saying she has to boop everyone again, but she can bring back some of the aesthetics.
Maybe we get a new Statlander.
All right. So next up we have Takeshita versus Hobbs, which is awesome to see Hobbs back in the title picture.
I was super excited when I saw that he was on the card.
And I was confused. For some reason, I thought there was going to be a TNT title added, but I didn't see one. So no Garcia. So a little sad about that. But you have the international title, but you have Takeshita, who's been probably on one of his best runs of his career. I mean, we thought when he beat Omega twice last year that he was already like top dog, but I mean, I can't wait to see what our results are when we put the poll out in a couple days. I'm curious to see how many votes he gets for rest of the year because he's on our list, obviously.
This is every match I really am 50-50 on. It's not easy to pick one. This is one of the hardest pay-per-views I think to really grasp.
Really? I thought it was the other way around for me.
No.
Because
you think Takesha's going to retain?
I do because I think him
because Don Callis needs this.
Well, also too, I can see, like, I'm not saying fuckery, but I can see it being something where Callis is enough because Callis hasn't really been on camera much. I can see him kind of taunting Will and Will not focusing, and that's why Takeshita gets the upper hand and just he finishes them. But I think you just need Takeshita is going to be wrestling 3 nights in Japan next month. I think he needs to go in there with a title like that AEW title on his belt. Because then technically now he's defending that fucking title in Japan. Like that's huge.
Yes. So I'm also actually picking Takeshita. I
love Hobbs though. Like, I can't wait to see him on the cruise again.
Super happy that he's, got this title match. I just see this going to the Don Callis family to further my Fletcher theory.
Like you kind of think that's the new faction, take all the gold?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, they still could if Aussie Open reunites. And just with us, Takeshita retains. So again, I'm sad that we don't have like a TNT title match to talk about because I was really hoping Danny had a card, like some sort of match with either Shelton or someone from the tournament. But I just think that it's great that at least they put 2 women's matches. It's an 8 like main card, 8 matches, and 2 women guys. So I think that's awesome. I think that's a big change. Obviously, we don't have the Battle Royal this year like they did last year. And I like that each match has an important meaning behind it. Like there's nothing that's a throwaway match, so to speak. Like this next one, Mariah May versus Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. So Emily's gonna talk about her favorite match that Mariah May did, the Dream House match. So how excited are you that you get to see Mariah May kind of in her element again?
So I think that this is something most people need to see from Mariah.
Yes.
We see Mariah as the glamour. We see Mariah as this beautiful champion. What you don't see is the nitty grittiness that I got to see when I first recognized who she was. So I saw this amazing gear. I saw Mariah May come out and be awestruck by Toni Storm. And I'm like, but something's good with her. What is Mariah? So I went through, did a deep dive, and I could not believe the matches that this woman was having. As such an attractive person, to put yourself out there into these fights is like not really heard of often. I think that it's really cool to see somebody just put everything out there. And it reminds me of when Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa did their cage match. I think this is going to be an iconic match. I think that this is going to be huge. But Thunder Rosa, who? Mariah May. All day. Mariah May.
Speaking of, she made fun of my Will Ospreay man crush. This is her woman crush. Or sorry, what was that song? I got a girl. Just kidding.
But no, Thunder Rosa, she's great. Don't get me wrong. Never been my cup of tea, but that's me. I want to see Mariah May take this.
So I also wanted to say hi to Jeff. I know first time seeing you in the chat. Thanks so much. He thinks that we're going to get Shane and Kenny, which again, I wouldn't say no to. I don't see like Shane in my brain, but again, it's always a possibility because AEW, you can never say never at anything in wrestling. I never thought I'd see CM Punk back in WWE. I never thought I'd see Bret Hart back in WWE. I never thought I'd see Sting wrestle again. So like, there's a lot of never say nevers. And again, I think for this match, Mariah May and Thunder Rosa, I agree with you. I can't see Thunder taking it. I see her being there because Thunder's going to remind the world of who she is too.
Oh, yeah.
She had that great series with Deanna, that best of series. She's already shown she can do hardcore, like you said, the Britt Baker lights out match, the cage match. But Mariah is going to show that next level. And we already saw her viciousness going after Toni. We saw her viciousness when she tried to go after Mina. We see her in the matches pull out all like that dirty heel tag. There's going to be some gnarly stuff in this. I think this is going to be close to like a Moxley like type of match. So it might not be for the faint of heart. I think this is going to be bloody and violent.
I think, yeah, for sure. I just enjoy everything that they're doing at the moment with the women's division. I think that it's fun, it's exciting, and it's must see. Again, you might cringe at this, but it's going to be bloody and it's going to be great. I could see this being like second main event.
Yeah, like co-main events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can see this too. I can see Shane running the Death Riders. I'm
going to run back to something that Zach actually brought up in our interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
When you're that match that goes right before the closer, you want to kind of quiet the crowd. You want to like get them,
settle them down.
Yeah, you want to get them to pay attention. And then the next match is the big booms and the big like feel good moments.
Boom!
So I could definitely see this being
double
in that
chocolate
slot
cookie
of like, intermediate chaos where you're quiet, you're paying attention, you're like, what's gonna happen next? Oh, fuck this. And then Mariah May wins, and then we go on to our 4-way.
And then Jeff says Mariah wins. Thunder back on the map. I agree. I think they get a little after the match. I think we see backstage. I think we see Luther, and I think we see Toni introducing herself to Luther. Like, did you just watch Mariah's match? It was so delightful. Like, I can just see something like that, and Luther's like, what? Like, just he's dumbstruck. I think you plant that seed.
Yeah. How long do we have until Grand Slam?
Like a month and a half, not even.
So they got to start building this faster.
Yeah, like you at least put seeds out there. Even putting them out there through Grand Slam. I really just hope that Ruby and Saraya come back somehow, and they're just really confused when she's like an outcast again. They're like, wait a minute. Like, I think that's going to be funny. Like, these three faces of Toni is going to be fantastic.
I would love to see that.
I can't wait till the first women's battle royal where she comes out in all 3 gimmicks to make Emily go crazy. Just like Foley did in 98.
Yes.
And then we have the main event. Can we say fatal 4-ways, or I don't know? I'm gonna say it anyway. So it's a fatal 4-way match. Jon Moxley, Orange Cassidy, Hangman, and Jay White. And what I kind of like is before they set this match up, they had a lot of subtle storytelling where anytime these men were all in the ring, if they didn't work together, the Death Riders kind of always got the advantage. But the second they started working together, they ran the Death Riders off and were able to take Moxley down. So this is going to be one of those matches. I think they're all just going to brawl and beat the fuck out of Moxley. I think they're going to have to work together and incapacitate Moxley because Orange got the roll, got pinned with a surprise roll up. You have them, almost taking JY out, and you have Marina to worry about. You have all these people to worry about. So I think they got to work together. As much as they hate each other, they got to work together. I'm going to let you go first because I don't know if my prediction's too out there or not, but I'm curious to see who do you think wins the title. And I'm going to add out, don't forget Christian is kind of lingering.
I forgot about Christian. Thank you. There's too many variants here. I think that Moxley is going to retain because it makes the most sense. Like you said, the briefcase handoff, it makes the most sense.
Like some sort of big
for Moxley to keep it. If it was if it was Mox versus Orange, I would pick Orange. But with it being the 4 of them, I think that the 3 of them are going to have a hard time. And it's going to come down to Moxley, again, like you said, being able to take on the Death Riders and teamwork. So, yeah, it's going to get lost. The championship is in the background.
I think the person to throw Moxley is going to be Darby. So that's why I don't see it being this match. I think Darby's the next champion.
Okay.
They just had him beat Will Ospreay. And to me, that was like they're testing him. They're seeing how he does against like the top guy. Because right now, if you're really thinking of like future like men's world champions, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead of our year-end award special. I see the lineage being like a Darby and Will, and like Jay White, Darby, Will, kind of like the next 3 champions, because they want to kind of get other people in there. And then I see this being such a storyline driven match that I just don't see anyone conquering Moxley yet. I see Christian trying and failing because I think he needs chaos in his life. Unless somehow Christian wins the title, like in a shocking ending, like he steals the titles and then he's running from his life from the Death Riders too. Like that could be something too. Like don't rule out some sort of like crazy sports entertainment-y type of like, what the fuck did we just see ending? Because it's World's End. This is kind of like their season finale until they start back up in January.
You're so right.
It's like a cliffhanger. Like, really?
It reminds me of when Kenny Omega ran off with the championship when you say that.
Oh, when him and Don Callis, they basically ran to TNA.
So, with that being said, what if they end it with the briefcase being handed to the Bucks and they go off air?
That'd be interesting. And then you have to tune into Wrestle Dynasty. Yeah, then you have to see Wrestle Dynasty.
Because they could easily just
like the helicopter comes down and then you see the Bucks come out and he goes, "Here you go."
Yeah, and they could have that.
And they could say, "We have plans for this," and then you're like, "Who?"
Yeah, so it could be pre-recorded. They could already have this scene done, filmed.
Oh yeah, why think it's in the desert?
And yeah, so like this scene's already been done, and they're just going to end with like the lights go out, the camera rolls to not the Titantron, but the Tron, and yeah.
Well, because think about it, everyone keeps talking about these numbers, and like I'm starting to rewatch Lost again, so everyone's talking about numbers. What if I didn't look it up, but what if those are just the Bucks' birthdays somehow, or something to do with the Bucks? Because, like I said, what if they say we have plans for this, but you don't know what their plans are? You're gonna tune in to the next show.
That's very true.
Like not everyone forgets. It sounds so arrogant. A lot of people, like, we kind of work ourselves up into it's not a TV show, but it is a TV show. So we forget there's gonna be cliffhangers. There's gonna be head scratching moments. I still have moments that we talked about Ring of Honor. I'm not going to bring them up because I'm not trying to like mix shows.
We forget about the entertainment aspect of it.
But we're like, why is this happening? And then you see the segment the next day, you're like, oh, I overreacted super early.
Like people calling us out about Tony Storm not having a split personality. Newsflash, bitch.
Listen, the one phrase I hate, and I hope 2025 does not keep this phrase alive: cinema. I cannot stand that, or I can't stand it. I think people it's like they get that PB Herman word of the day, or that buzzword, and they just cling to it and they use it for everything, and it never makes sense to what they're saying on normal promo in the match. Cinema. Like, I'm glad it was awesome, but is everything cinema? It takes away the value of that word. What I am is a cinema buff. I watch a lot of old movies. This is so classic Hollywood. You know, I put Talented Mr. Ripley kind of like as a guy. I know it's not the exact movie she's emulating. I know it's probably like the Faces of Eve, which is where Eve kind of has a traumatic event. Her brain kind of gets fried and she has amnesia, but she doesn't. Things trigger it. They could be blending multiple elements, but yeah. Tony Khan's even like, I guess we're going to play along with her. Like, people think she's just pretending because she kind of is. Because think about the RGC, all these interviews, she's just getting her revenge. And I think it's brilliant storytelling. And I agree. I love it. And I just want a super tangent.
So, Steve, what do you think the files are? Because we're still lost on that part.
The Bucks of Death Rider, or why were they? Yeah. I'm wondering if it's some sort of like the emails, like their emails to Moxley. Because I feel like Moxley is not like you meet in person kind of, unless it's like you meet in person or you email him. So like, I think they were just destroying evidence because I think they kept blackmail. Like, shit, he's gonna come after us. That's why they were so scared when they were coming after him. Like maybe they promised something they couldn't deliver,
and that's why they ran that night.
Mm-hmm. Because Brandon Cutler got the shit kicked out of him for them.
That is right, and they left behind all their fucking shoes.
It would have been funny if they were just selling their shoes like every week. Like Yuta's out in the crowd just selling shoes for money.
I would like that, actually. That'd be really funny. And what's going to happen with Yuta? I think
eventually he's turning on them because they keep making him the sacrificial lamb. I think eventually, like, he's gonna fall into this dastardly asshole heel. And then it's just like, he's going to see like nothing's good enough for these guys. And I'm always just getting destroyed. And I think he's just going to, so I'm going to put a bold prediction for 2025. Orange Cassidy has a reunion. He has the best friends and he has Yuta. He gets his best friends back. I think that's what's going to push Orange Cassidy to also get the championship, like All In or something. I think he gets his best friends back because Statlander is already kind of repenting. So I think Yuta is going to be that last person to finally turn back and Orange Cassidy forgive because they are friends in real life. So I know that's a super weird way to connect it, but again, I think all he sees are planted for Yalin, as we'll call it.
It's a lot. This was a lot to go through.
Maybe because, yeah, I'm curious too. So we'll end on that note for our, what are the, to end this, like any tinfoil hat, like debut surprises. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand how to request it. Why isn't the other talent helping? Who else do you think can step up? Will Ospreay is going to be the next one to step up because he's already kind of said. Who else should step up to the Death Riders? That's a better way to word it.
I want it to stay AEW Originals. I don't want to see it being ex-WWE guys stepping up. I think that makes it more meaningful that AEW, like homegrown, are the ones stepping up.
I think Garcia is the next one.
Well, yeah, he was already part of that. So
no, but I mean,
that being a big transition. Yeah,
him going after like
what the fuck? What are you thinking? This isn't right. Blah blah blah. Like the shoulders. You'll have Death Riders, and then you'll have the AEW guys.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think too, because then you can set up Blood and Guts, right? I think this will be a good reset. But I think it's gonna leave with the Death Riders having more power than they ever had before. I think. People have kind of clowned on this angle, but haven't been paying attention that he's telling you what's happening in the promos. Like he's pretty much spoiling what he's saying. It's not your company more. We're here. Egos kill everything. You have to be selfless. You have to want to work here. So he's going to convert some faces too. So he's going to get more followers too eventually. You're right. You know, all these cocky assholes. I've been here since day one. And then you're going to have like an Eddie Kingston come back and be like, yo, man, this ain't right. So it's going to all lead to something, and I'm excited for it. So, and also it's the last night of Rampage. Kind of sad to see. But again, with the focus on Collision and Dynamite, these stories can be fleshed out over 2 shows versus 3.
Yeah. Also, you know, Tony wants to put the focus on his 4 hours, which is great. Let's circle back to this pay-per-view. Willow Nightingale. You've got Statlander and Willow making up, and they are now, you know, friends again. But also, you've got Willow in Orange's corner. Mm-hmm. You've got Mercedes Martinez, who has really taken a different role with
Marina Shafir.
Oh yeah, Marina Shafir. Sorry,
Martinez is on Ring of Honor right
now. So she's taken on this big role where I've also gone back through and said that she could easily take on a men's title. What if, you know, we see something transpire with Willow, and
what if we see the women's tag team titles down the road eventually? Because what if another female joins the Death Riders and they have to have a female tag team to, like, there's ways you can do this. Monet Corporation, you know, you have the Vendetta. Like, you already kind of starting to tease that. So I agree. I think people forget Marina Shafir can wrestle. I think keeping her silent and having this mystery behind her is better than trying to make her a character that she's not, because she's a legit badass. She is a legit badass.
You know who would fit really great with that Death Riders thing? Serena Deeb.
I think so.
Because she needs a new story. She needs some retouching.
Just don't shave your head, Serena. That didn't work the last time was the Straight Edge Society. But it's just about 10 o'clock, so we're getting ready to wrap up so we can go watch the last episode of Rampage and reminisce a little bit. So we thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Make sure you're following us here on this page. Subscribe to our YouTube too, because we have a lot of content coming up from the cruise. We're going to be filming a vlog again.
Oh my gosh, almost everybody on this pay-per-view is going to be on the cruise.
That's what I'm saying. It's an all-star lineup. So
let's go, Darby. Get announced.
Let's see what else we can film for you. Our 10-year-old is dying
for this.
Post, and also stay tuned because we talked about Ospreay a lot. Stay tuned for all new episode that we're gonna record and drop real soon. So,
if there's any matches that you want to suggest of Ospreys for us to watch that you think
we
actually haven't, leave them in the comments.
And if we have, we'll watch them again probably. So thanks everyone. Have a great night. Hope you have a happy and safe New Year. As always, I'm Mongo.
I'm Emily.
And remember, always
keep the kayfabe.